like
okay, so functions are the ones that will help you to do some processing and return a value, right?
okay.
So what are the different types of functions?
So aggregate functions,
Mm-hmm.
inline functions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mm,
Okay. Okay. See, at high level, what happens is here, first of all, there are two types of functions. Okay. One is a user-defined function, and one is
non-user defined.
system function. Okay, user-defined functions and system functions. Now, what are system functions?
So which are inbuilt.
Very good. Can you give any one example?
It's like aggregate function, sum, count.
Some count. Okay. Anything else?
Mm, no, sir.
Okay. So other than that, you also have average, you have many,
Yes, have. Oh, sorry.
you
Have
have max. Okay. So these are
many
system. What
max.
about
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, what about the user-defined functions?
Which are created by user.
Very good. Created by user.
User.
Okay. So in that cases, what we do is we have two types of user-defined functions. Okay. One is what? Scalar value, and other is what?
Non-scalar.
Yeah, non-scalar, or you can say inline function, which is nothing but
Inline.
table valued function. Inline table valued functions. Now, in case of scalar valued function, can you give an example? Or what is scalar valued function first of all?
So the scalar means only single value.
Perfect. Okay, scalar means only single valued. So let's consider one example of scalar valued function. Here, let's consider one example, like how to define a scalar valued function. See here what they have done. They have defined this particular function. So what you will do, we'll create one function. Let's say, for example, addition of two numbers. Here, if you see here, what I will say, this, what is this sales? This is actually schema name. So in our
Schema.
case, this is TBO, and here I will define the name of the function as add two numbers, and this is our A, This is our B, and I will also tell this as integer. Okay, so we have two numbers, A and B, and these are like integer, and returns here integer. What is meaning of this?
So which one?
This returns integer.
So it will give you a value in integer as an integer.
It will give the value in integer. So here, more precisely, it will return in integer. Okay. A value which will be returned will be in integer. And then what you will see here is
Sir,
plus,
in interview, they will ask only basic questions, yeah, in interview.
okay. See how the interview happens is, I will give you the frame. First,
So just actually, I have to prepare some questions for interview. Actually, I'm applying for some opportunity. Actually, it is
okay, okay. Let me do one thing. 1 second.
and I have some questions. SQL, what is SAS?
Mhm.
So SQL, I know. What is SAS? SAS.
Yeah, we will see that. Let's complete this one.
Because I need some information related these keywords,
Okay.
because you need to prepare for these keywords. What
Yeah,
they are asking.
true, true. So what we'll do, see, this is nothing but one good URL for SQL interview questions and answers. So I
Mhm.
think I shared with you. You have this URL, or else I will share with you.
No, sir.
So a very, very good, useful URL. So see, these are some sample of questions which are asked in interviews. So it will start with basics, I mean, depending on your experience, and then it can go to an advanced level. Okay. So joins, normalization, okay. What is primary key, and update command, what are types of SQL queries.
So these are okay, but they will ask about the high level questions like functions, um,
Mhm. See, functions and all, they are also
views,
again, yeah, as we
and
will
tableau.
Tableau, again, Tableau is something separate. It's not part of SQL.
It's not related to SQL, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Then as we will cover this content, right, like trigger or functions, you will feel that simple and they are like normal level, nothing like advanced. You can easily answer it. So uh, if you go through this all questions, right, I think maximum of chunk will be covered, like stored procedures, cursor, indexes, right?
Okay.
It's a very useful URL. And if you cover this, I think major sections will be covered group by. So these are some examples of your interview questions.
And can you give me some like a hint in written, like what can I write in my resume rather than my experience? What can I write about SQL? What I'm learning?
Okay. See what you do. First of all, you mention the contents. Okay. You mention the contents which you have covered. Like,
All contents what we have learned.
yes, yes, yes. You put that everything actually. You can tell that we have worked on that. And most important, they will ask you about your project, like your
Yes.
current project and your role in that. That is very, very, very important. This is for sure they will ask, very high chances. So you have to tell first of all what is your project, and then what is your role in that project.
Okay.
So first of all, finalize on one project, any one project you can consider, and then in that project you explain them that okay, I have worked on this, I have worked on this. But again, if you will tell that I have worked on this, they might tell you what is the name of your company, And if you tell name of your company, then they will call over there, might be, and ask as a part of BGC that yes, what was her responsibility. So you need to think on all these things also, like
So, but I'm not working on a SQL, no?
yeah, yeah. So how are you applying? You are applying as a fresher level or an experience?
So I will apply as a fresher because
Then
I'm
it's
in a
fine.
banking, sir.
Good. You are absolutely safe, no issues. I mean, what you do,
But
tell them.
if I'm looking for other opportunity like any analyst jobs and all, they are asking for SQL and some work related to finance.
Mhm.
So if they are asking me project, so what I will show them. So I have not worked on any project related to SQL.
Okay. So in that case, you tell them that I have no experience in SQL and I am a fresher, but you make one project on your own and show them that this is one of my project and I have worked on that.
Okay.
I have one project, mini project kind of thing that you can start working on. If you want, I will just show it to you. I will let me give you
Yeah,
the
please,
background
sir.
of that. See, what they will mostly look for is like okay, so this is kind of mini project. It's related to the airline, and what it tells is uh, how is the scheduling of flights and all happens, right? Like
Okay.
suppose you are having one software or a database for airlines, right? So what are the different things that you have to manage? For example, how flights are scheduled, how many passengers are there in one of the flight,
Right. Okay.
and how do you store the scheduling of flights? Like for example, India to Dubai, there is one schedule of flight. So there will be one table which will
Mm-hmm.
store all that, right? So that how you store the data, you have to see on that. And along with the flights, you need to store all the employees' data. How many
Yes.
employees are there in your aircraft system? And
Okay.
there would be one booking table in which there will be details of all the passengers who have done the booking for a particular flight.
Okay.
I mean, you need to also have one table which gives the status of a flight. Like this flight has reached till where, right? Till where this has reached. What is the expected arrival, departure? Every all details you should be able to store in that. Along with that, uh, there needs to be a table which will have the inventory, like in the when you go to aeroplane aircraft, so you get a lot of meal items or water or meals, so you have need to have a inventory for that. So you need to have a table for that which will store
Okay.
all these details. So all these things you have to store.
Okay.
So I will send you this document. What you do,
So please.
you make a plan for this. A plan as in design for this, like what will be the different tables, okay? What will be their structures? And we can continuously in each and every class discuss on that. And
Okay, sir.
we can then uh, enhance it, make it more and more better, and that way we'll make a progress.
Okay, sir.
So this was, and next you are asking for SaaS, right?
Yes, sir.
spell it. It's SaaS only, right?
SAS, sir.
Okay.
So it's a they are asking like knowledge of SAS, SQL, and experience of working in data analytics environment.
Okay. I think it would be SaaS, SaaS,
So no, it's SAS.
SAS only.
Maybe here they pronounce SAS.
Okay. See, software as service. This is what they are given the full form. Software as.
Yes, yes, as service. Yeah.
So see, it is like rented. See, it's very simple concept. For example, now suppose in our company there are 100 employees.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now suppose I am in India. Okay. Suppose you are in some other place like US. Okay. And we are working in suppose same project. And there might be some other person who is in might be in Europe. Okay? All are at different locations. Now, if they all want to do the work, how will they perform the work?
My network, sir.
By network, right? So there should be something which is like online, so a cloud-based system. What do you mean by cloud-based system?
Sir, I know, but I cannot explain cloud.
See, a cloud-based system as in like, suppose today you are working in India. Now tomorrow, even if you go to US, you should be able to perform a work. The work should be uninterrupted. Means normally what happens? Suppose you have your queries, okay, stored procedures stored in your laptop, which is at your place in India. Suppose, okay, you have queries and stored procedures in India. Now suppose you go to US, okay. Now suppose you don't carry that laptop. Now what will happen in that case?
So you can work from.
Here you have queries and all stored procedures. Right? You have that in your laptop. Now laptop is in India. Now you go to US. Now will you be able to perform work on that queries or stored procedures?
Yes, sir.
How?
So by cloud system,
So what happens is in a cloud-based system where all stored procedures, queries and all will be
there
stored
is
at
an
one
option.
place. So even if you are at India, even if you are at US, right, you can access that. Any
Yes,
part of the world, if you go, you can access it. So that is the concept. Now, to store this, okay, store this all and to do the processing for that, right? Because see, now your data would be in GBs. Okay. So you need some centralized server which will store that data. You can do processing on that. So that system which is there, either you purchase your own or you take for rent. Got it?
yes, sir.
There are two options. Either you purchase your own or you take for rent. Now,
Correct.
uh, which is good option? I mean, is it varies from person to person or it's always good to purchase, it's always good to take on rent?
So it's depend actually,
Exactly.
person to person. Yeah.
Exactly. So, see, for some persons, it would be good to purchase, but for some of them, it would be a good option to take for rent, right? So you are absolutely right. It depends. So
Yes.
some of them prefer taking on rent. So that option of taking on rent is nothing but your SaaS.
Yes. Okay.
So you have to just explain them in your own words. Right? See, software as a
Okay, sir. We'll
service
read.
defined as a software that is rented. Okay, that is rented instead of purchase is idle for cloud applications.
Applications.
Okay. So So now you can go into more detail, watch for more videos and all, but this is at the overall high level concept.
Okay, sir.
So, I mean, from your side, when you go for the interview, what would be more expected is, see, all these things which we learned, and secondly, a live project. See, live project or any project is most important.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, see, even if you don't tell them each and every function, but you should be able to explain them that this was my project, this was the structure, and these were the objects created, and these were the stored procedures. Even if you explain that, they would be more than happy.
Okay, sir.
Just make a design, and it doesn't need to be very, very detailed, but at high level, even if you prepare, that should suffice.
Okay, sir.
So we were at inline functions.
Yes, sir.
So so this is our function, right? Add two numbers. So once you create this, right, what you can do, you can say select one comma two. Now what will be the output for this?
So 3.
Yes, you're right. And this function is for integers. Now tomorrow, if I want a floating, which decimal, what should be the change? We have to make it suppose float, right? So that decimal values will be accepted. Okay. Now why we need to do that? I will tell you. See, now if I write 1.5 plus 2.5, what is the output you are expecting?
So it will be 3.
It will be
Sorry.
3,
Sorry, 4.
4, right? Okay. So in that case, here what it is showing still,
3.
right? Here, even in that case, it is showing us 3. So now what to do so that we get output as 4?
So we need to return as a float.
We need to return as a float. Yeah. So how
Because
to,
we are passing it as a integer. See, return a integer.
Mhm. So we need to take this as float. So now it is giving us 4. Okay.
Okay.
So this is how
If it
now
is, if there is any value like 3.2, 3.2 or 5.7, then
3.2
it will
and
give you a decimal.
5.7. So what is the expected output in this case?
Should be 8.9.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will
If
work for.
then it will be if if the return value is in integer, so it will give you only 8.
Okay. Yeah. So if the return value is only in integer, okay, yes, it will only give 8.
Okay.
So this was an example of what?
Inline function.
Scalar value function.
Okay.
Okay. This was example of scalar value function. Okay. Because a single value is being returned, right? Here, if you see, we have returned only one value.
Okay.
Yeah. So now suppose if you want to have a inline table valued function. So in that case, how will you do it? Means what is inline table valued function? Okay, so it returns a table.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see one example. See, this is one of the example in which we are returning a table. Okay, so here you can see user defined function, and what we will say, suppose get employees data. So I will pick here one of the table and I will try to get the data. Suppose this is the online music table that we are targeting. Okay. So now suppose I want to return this function, I mean value. So what we'll say here, instead of get employee data, what I'll say, get music. And here, what I will say, user ID will be the parameter. So here, what we have to do, we have to just write a select query. So this is our nothing but a select query. And with this, we are able to get the online music. Now, if you want, you can put a particular user ID over here. Online music, where poem dot user ID is equal to user ID. Okay. Now, in this case, if you are filtering based on the user ID, you can pass any user ID and we can get the output. So here we have to say alter when we are using it for second. Now, how to call this function? Suppose we have to call this function, how we will call?
So we will go to file menu.
Yeah, so we have one option of UI. We have to go to programmability,
Yes.
functions, table valued functions, see get music, and just say script function as select to new query editor window. And here you pass any one of the user ID. See, this is the output for such scenario. Okay. Now, if you change any user ID, you will get that particular row of data. Okay. Any questions? Let's see how it is created. First of all, you have to say alter function and function name. or when you're creating here, instead of create, alter, instead of alter, create will come. This is what a parameter. Okay, this will be the parameter. And here, why it is told returns table?
Because we are calling.
Yeah, because we are returning table, right? We are returning table over here. That's why we say returns table. Okay. Here in the previous case, we were returning one value. Here, what we are returning? Is it a single row or a table?
It's a single.
Single row, correct. But is it a single value? Like in the last case, we are returning 2 plus 3, which is 5 we are returning, or 6 we are returning. Here, are we returning a single value or a tabular format data?
The whole table.
Table, right? So that's why here we specify table. And then a return, and here we say a query which will give you the data.
Yes.
Any questions?
No, sir.
So again, this once you understood what you have to do as a homework, you have to go to Google, YouTube, try to cover this in more detail, and also try to
Okay.
do it practically.
Okay.
So let's move to then next topic, which is like views. So what do you mean by a view?
So view display any table
Correct. Display any tables data.
data.
See, I'll give you one very simple example, the concept of view. Suppose you are standing at an open ground. Okay. So from there, you can see everything, right? All directions, because it's an open ground. Whole 360-degree, you are able to view whatever is there in the surrounding. Now assume you are at your home, and in that there is just a small window.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now how much of the surrounding you can view from here? Very limited.
Value.
Only this side. Can you view behind? See, this is original scenario where you are at open ground. Here, you could view 360 degree, right? But here, since you are at your home and there is only a small window, what is your view? Can you
Only
see
from
in this direction?
no.
No, right? Okay. So what is the basic area that you can view is only very limited, which is this part.
Yes, sir.
So this is nothing but a view which you can see from home. Correct?
Yes.
So same thing with the views also. See, this is your whole table. Okay. These are all rows. Now view which is there, it's only a small part of a table. Okay. So if you consider this particular table, this is suppose column 1, column 2, column 3, 4, column 5. Now this is nothing but your row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. Now I suppose create a view on this, right? So what will happen? View will only be able to give me only a limited data of a table. So only 2 rows, 2 columns you are able to see over here. So when you create a view on top of a table, you are able to see only a limited data. It's a
Oh,
view of a table, a small view of a table, right? Whole table. Now in some cases it can be two tables join, right? On top of that also you can create a view. This is your table one, this is your table two, there is an inner join on that, and this join section view is created. So you will be able to see only this joining portion, which is the overlap. Mhm. So at high level, what is view is nothing but kind of data from a table which is uh, limited, right? Which is limited depending on the filter conditions. So let's see a book definition of view. So here, let's actually specify what we are looking for. So what we are looking for is what is a view. See, what is view is a virtual table. Why virtual table? Okay. See, if you go to school, suppose if you when you used to go to school, right, in the classroom, right, at that time, what used to happen? You used to go physically, right? It was an
Yes, sir.
actual classroom. Now, currently also we have a classroom, but this is what virtual,
Virtually.
not actual. It's a virtual, right? So similarly, here the view which is there, is it actually not a table? It's a virtual table, right?
Yes.
What do you mean by virtual table? It's like there is no existence of a view as a physical table. It's just a virtual, means it's created on some other table. So whenever
Okay.
you execute that query, you get a result set. Okay, so that is the concept of virtual table.
Mhm.
And what about the contents of the view? How are they decided?
By query,
Correct. Yeah, it is set
what?
by query. Now let's create a simple view on how it works. Create view and fetch music.